Gentlemen, you ever think about how your girl's job is a job that might make it difficult for you to trust her? Well, that's today's lesson. Top 5 woman jobs that men should be worried about. Let's get it in. Now before we get into this lesson, take a moment to make sure you subscribe to the channel so the algorithm knows what's up. We're a new channel here and we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So, do the things, you know what to do. Thumbs, let everybody know, share it. So everybody, including you, all your friends, all your people can get these lessons. Now, let's get into the lesson. Bang, bang. Gentlemen, these jobs for your lady. It's not guaranteed that she's going to cheat, but some of these will be surprising to you. Some of these will be obvious to you. But no matter what it is, these are the ones based on statistics, facts, and even me being in the field as someone who dates, but also someone who's been counseling for years. Some of this surprised me. The occupations that women are most likely to stray, to cheat, to do something crazy. The things that, you should be worried about. So, writes this down, takes these notes, or come back and watch these videos again. We're going to go in reverse order, starting with number 5. Boss chicks. Specifically, high-powered lawyers, doctors, things of that nature. Now, it sounds weird. It's not the same reason why a woman would want you for having this job, gentlemen. It's more that women who tend to be high-powered lawyers, high-powered doctors, sadly they care less. Doesn't mean that you won't get one that actually does care, but they tend to have less of the emotional attachment because it probably required a lot of masculine energy in order for them to get these high-power positions where they've been battling out with men for a while. So they tend to have way more masculine traits and have shut off the part of them that is emotionally attached to things like monogamy. You're just lower on the totem pole to them. You're second to their career and your kids, and like you just fall down the thing. So if she feels like scratching an itch, she cares less. Again, ladies, you're watching, it doesn't mean that all of you are bad. I'm just saying this is what tends to happen. Number 4, caregivers. Specifically, sad. Nurses and teachers. Yo! This one was surprising to me. I didn't want to believe it. I still find it hard to believe, but the numbers are the numbers. I can't tell you how many couples I've counseled, how many women I've counseled, how many men I've counseled where if the woman has these 2 jobs, crazy things go down. If you hear the most crazy stories about a woman getting somebody to kill her husband in order for her to run off into the sunset, it tends to be a teacher. It tends to be a female teacher who got some student caught up. He pop, everybody drop. She runs off with him. Ladies, I didn't make you. Don't be mad at me. I'm not God. I didn't create the game. But I will show you how to move through it. So, gentlemen, I love teachers. I love nurses. I love the whole caregiver thing. But for some reason, these are professions that you just got to worry about. I don't know if it's the nature of the work or that there's just so much, caring and loving going on. I don't know. I just know that nurses tend to hook up with other nurses in the long hours and the crazy things, and then teachers just, maybe it's the people looking up to them or people revering them for their position. I don't know. This one is the biggest mystery. I just know it happens. So, beware, gents. Number 3, entertainers. Specifically, actresses and models. Now, this is the one I've encountered the most being an actor in Hollywood, but, it's a thing, yo. This is the one that's probably one of the most obvious. You don't get this as much with singers and dancer girls. They tend to be more loyal. But when it comes to actresses and models, for a few different reasons. One, for actresses and models, there tends to be these situations in which she has to or wants to. Sometimes it'll be something that she feels she has to do. Sometimes the thing I've seen the most is her wanting to do this, volunteering to do this, which is to, for the lack of a better phrase, how can I say this politely? The casting couch, the I want to be connected to this famous person, this star, someone who's higher up in my given field, and so therefore I will hook up with them. I will go to their crazy orgy party. I will do whatever of being connected in order to get the connections, in order to get the part, get the bag, they be doing things. All right, I've just seen some stuff. It's ridiculous. I know there's the whole Me Too thing that happened, and that does happen, and I'm not saying it doesn't. I've had to save women and protect them for certain situations that I've watched go down, and I've been like, no, and I've stepped in. But the thing I've seen way more than any kind of non-consensual stuff is women more than willing to, jumping at the chance, knocking other girls out to get the opportunity to hit it with the star of the music video, the star of the movie, the star of the series, the director, the producer, the people who can make her career happen. It happens way more on the I want it to happen from the woman's perspective than the other side. Again, not like the other side don't exist. It's not like it doesn't happen where, they feel coerced. But this one, as far as girls, like I said, knocking each other out, pushing each other out the way to try to get next to the star, homie, all the time. So, just be careful. Number 2, protection services. Specifically, military, police, fire, EMT. Yes, I count weird. That's how I count. So what? It's the most efficient. Fight me if you don't believe me. Anyway, yes, these things. Sad, but true, mother true. This is the one I've seen up close and personal the most. Now, I come from a military family, a military town. Most of my boys, the parents, everybody's military. You will hardly ever hear me say anything negative about the military. I was this close to being in it myself, except reasons. But and this is not necessarily something against the military. It's more about the women who join. Because it's not like the military is promoting this. They actually frown upon it. You get in trouble for this. Adultery, you get in trouble for cheating. You get in trouble. That's how high the standards are in the military. You can't just be cheating. But women, if your wife is a Marine, homie, if your wife is in the military, dude, I'm sorry. Just count it as it's so likely that you gonna get cheated on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous for a few different reasons. One reason, she's around the most masculine, burly, brawny, trained killers. The manliest men in the mother world. She's around them on a daily, hourly, minutely. She's surrounded by sweaty gangster dudes, like thuggish, man, dudes who literally bark. She's around that. So let's say you're a tech guy, but your wife is a Marine, and she's around other Marines regularly. Dude, come on. Yo. It's hard for her to resist her animal nature. It's a currency. Men's strength, most exhibited in physical strength. It's, again, the world's most highly trained military ever. She around that all day. Same with firemen, same with other police officers. She's around dudes who their job is to be manly. That's hard competition. On top of that, just like in other things we've talked about, she's got to give into her masculine side in order to keep up. So she's in this whole animalistic camaraderie, you know, how you doing, like dirty jokes and all kinds of stuff in your windows, flying everywhere, and she's gotta compete with that energy, and it's gonna lend to a lot of cheating. On top of the fact that, let's say she's deployed, she's away from you for a long time, she's on base somewhere, she's doing things, she's out, she's gone. She's surrounded by a bunch of strong dong everywhere. I don't even know what to say. Cold. I'm sorry. But it's the truth. That was cold-blooded. Now, police, fire, EMT, I've seen that. Not as bad, but there's a story in these YouTube streets that I heard recently. You might have heard it. There's a woman who's a police officer. I can't remember the city, but she got caught hitting it with like 5 or 6 other police officers in uniform, in their cop cars, in like the cage where they keep the evidence, in like all these places where she got fired. And then she was talking about how it was like the boss was in on it or something. I don't know. It's this weird thing. Her husband's like a pastor's son. Not that there's anything wrong with a pastor's son, but for the most part, he's like, I forgive you. Forgiveness is one thing, but taking her back after the world done seen your wife everywhere, the craziest like orgy parties and stuff, she's hitting it with other officers and their wives, and trying to make this dude be okay with it, because at one point her husband found out and he's like, stop, and she's like, no. And again, date him if you want to, marry him if you want to, at your own risk. So before I get to number 1, there's an honorable mention. Now this honorable mention shouldn't even be said. To me, it's obvious. Some of these things, though, y'all still need to be told. So we gonna talk about it. Honorable mention is Ladies of the Night. What do I mean by Ladies of the Night? You should already know. Exotic dancers, you know, those clubs where the clothes come off. Anybody who's a popcorn star. Yeah, I gotta say it like that for the YouTube so we don't get in trouble. Or if she's got an OnlyFans, which is pretty much kind of one of the other two. It's a form of that. She just does it in her house where nobody else is around, but then the world can see it. So if that's who you with, or if that's who you thinking about staying with or whatever, I don't know why under the holy sun you think she's gonna be faithful to you. That one should be a given. The only reason why it's not number 1 is because it's so far out of the realm of what's normal. But I did mention it because it's becoming more and more normal right now. It's crazy how many girls are like, I got an OnlyFans account. I'm like, what? What? The kind of work that this is starting to become mainstream. So, needed to be said. Number 1, influencers. What does this mean? This means any occupation, really. But if the girl has called herself an influencer, nighty night, homie. Nighty mother night. Now, this could be a fitness influencer, a financial influencer, an architectural influencer, where she had a normal job to begin with. She started making videos, and now she has crossed over into influencer status. Now, this does not mean that every girl who's got a YouTube video, a YouTube channel is like this. Doesn't mean she's automatically an influencer. But first thing you got to think about is, does she use that title? Does she call herself an influencer? Does she say, when people ask her what her occupation is, she goes, I'm an influencer? Hey, if you decide to get with that, that's your ass, Mr. Postman.
Your ass, Mr. Postman.
Now, this is generally for women who started out with some other occupation. She started out as, I don't know, a doctor or a nurse, or she started out as a lawyer, or she started out as, I don't know, she's a chef. And she started out actually being a chef in a restaurant, but then she wanted to make videos. And now she's making videos to the point where she don't work at her normal job anymore. Now, technically, this is good from an entrepreneurial standpoint. If you can make more money being at home and saving time and all that, like business-wise, it will probably make a lot more sense, especially if she gets more money doing this. But if it crosses over to the point where she is doing all kinds of social media on every level, if she doesn't turn it into a business where she's got employees doing all these other things, but she herself is kind of doing it for more of the attention, for more of the, I just want people to see me, especially if she crosses over into scantily clad content. I brought up the chef thing because I saw that recently. Some girl who's a chef where she starts to make food in less and less clothes. And I'm like, word? Where it's more about the attention than it is about the original art. If she's more giving frivolous advice and not really doing her main job, when it starts to become more social media and less actual content, that's when you got to worry about it. This is the one that is the most dangerous because it's the hardest to ascertain if this is what it is or not. But definitely, if she calls herself an influencer versus I make fashion blogs, or I've got a fashion podcast, or I've got a fashion show that I shoot because I'm about fashion and I help men with fashion or I help women with fashion. If she's not talking about it like a business, if she goes, I'm an influencer, I have this many followers, if she talks about follower count, and if she talks about how much, like she uses the word like, oh, my platform this, my platform that, she has to keep it in the realm of an actual job. Now, gentlemen, with all of these, obviously, there will be exceptions. There will be women who fit into these categories where they're not cheaters. They can be loyal. They will be someone you can trust. It's just that there are certain things about each of these that make it difficult for her to be faithful and easy for things to slip, and you should just be wary. So yeah, you might find an exception, but you know, it's your risk. You take it or leave it. It's up to you. That's the end of today's lesson. Now, the class is mostly free, but pay the fee with a thumb up or down, doesn't matter. Just let a brother know whether you love it or hate it. Now again, we are a new channel, so do all the things we talked about. You know you love these lessons. So come on back here and click on another video. Until next time, deuce deuce.